Let's get started!
Yo, clever comrade. What's up?
Looks like some of our viewers don't know what kind of creature I'm yet.
Looks like the viewers don't know what a giraffe is. What?
Deadline, I'm not a giraffe.
Are you a goat?
No.
Are you a sheep?
No.
Are you a fish?
Deadline, what the hell? Never mind, I'm starting the rant now. Okay, here we go. MHA chapter 401. This chapter pretty much marks the end of the Mecha Superman vs Mr. Demon Lord battle. Alleyway also dies in this chapter, as expected. Anyways, do take note that this video will not be a full recap. We are just gonna be ranting about some art stuff in this chapter that don't make sense. But before we start, let me say a little something. So about the previous chapter, specifically about this little kid. So I just kinda noticed something here. Based on his questions, looks like he doesn't really know the context of this particular battle he's watching. He doesn't know who the good guy is, and he also doesn't know who's the bad guy either. But somehow he's rooting for the grown man in power armor throwing down a huge laser attack at some glowing kid. He also seemed to be getting inspired by it as well. Yeah. Apparently this little person just really likes seeing kids being burned down by super lasers. Hopefully he's not getting inspired by this battle to build his own super laser cannon and vaporize other kids with it. Hopefully. Maybe. I hope so.
Ready the death ray, minion. Death ray, ready.
Okay, that's enough kids and death rays. Let's get on with the rant. So about MHA chapter 401. Now while this chapter has its fair share of randible stuff, like Mr. Demon Lord's bullshit ass pull, Lord Explosion murders quirk not being showcased by the mecha suit, and the entire chapter being rushed as but for this video we are not gonna rant about them. This time we are gonna do something different than usual and instead just rant about the art. Because holy hell, this chapter has a ton of various art issues. Okay, let's begin. First off, I gotta say that there's an awful lot of zoom shots of everyone's faces in this chapter. There are zoom shots of Superman's face. There are zoom shots of Alleyway's face. There are zoom shots of Mr. Demon Lord's face. It's like everyone's on a toothpaste commercial and showing off their pearly whites and perfect dental health. I think the creator here is low-key trying to remind us to always brush our teeth.
Wow, look at that shine.
I mean white sparkling teeth. I know you're probably here.
But seriously, dental jokes aside, not only there's a ton of zoom shots in this chapter, but also the overall art got really wonky about halfway in for some reason. Suddenly the backgrounds and shading are minimal to non-existent. And then there's a Superman panel being copy-pasted onto another panel, just with a few edits to his hair. And then you also have this one panel. So over here we can see how Mr. Hero Killer flew through some buildings. Logically, considering the direction of his flight, he should land on the middle part of the game center building. But the next panels show that he apparently landed on the far right side of the building, with the game center signs, which has now somehow changed from the previous panel. And then, after a little while later, we get a zoomed out shot where the impact zone is now suddenly in the middle part of the building. Also, the game center signs have now completely disappeared from existence. But we are not done yet. There's more wonky artwork on the final panels. Here's two more of them. So over here we have two panels placed right next to each other. Take note that these two are happening at the same time, and yet this one is bright and with visible smoke on the Handyman fight, while the other one is dark and without any smoke, not to mention drawn very ugly. But perhaps the strangest thing in these two panels is the constant. And that constant is the UA floating fortress. Right off the bat you might already notice that one is smoking far more than the other one. But unlike the art inconsistency of the panels they are part in, these floating fortresses have a way deeper meaning on why they are inconsistent in appearance. And by way deeper meaning I mean it's because these two are just copied from older chapters. Yeah. Both these two UA floating fortresses are just another case of copy-paste from chapters 379 and 378 respectively. As you can see, both UA floating fortresses match. The creator literally just copied and pasted them instead of drawing new ones for some reason. Anyways, since the UA floating fortresses are just straight up copied from two different older chapters, this brings in even more consistency issues. Just notice how this UA floating fortress has a visible gelatin trampoline, while the other one doesn't. That's because this is from 379, where Jello already caught the falling fortress, while this one is from the previous chapter 378, where Jello just arrived. So yeah, while these two panels are occurring simultaneously in the present, both UA floating fortresses are somehow just stuck in the past, not to mention in two different points in time. It's as if it duplicated itself so that both characters are seeing its alternate timelines. Holy sh**. But still we are not done yet.
Because this is where it gets complicated.
Chronologically speaking, going by the events of canon, both these floating fortresses are technically wrong. They shouldn't even be drawn falling anymore, because UA's flight systems are already repaired back in chapter 380. If anything, the floating fortress should already be flying far away from the battle zone. But no, it's apparently falling again, somehow.
I'm so confused.
These are confusing times.
Right, no.
So for short, this entire situation can be described as: the UA fortresses are copied from 379 and 378 respectively, but 380 didn't happen and it didn't get repaired, and now apparently it's falling again just like 377. Yeah. While I fully well know that the UA building is a very powerful being, able to casually resist being attacked by an apocalyptic threat for 11 chapters straight, but apparently it can now jump through different timelines and distort reality around itself. What the hell is even going on? Is it trying to go back in time to chapter 362 to change the future to the one where Lord Explosion Murder didn't die? Man, the UA building is really something special. Okay, so that there's the chapter 401 artwork rant. But before we end, I'd like to talk about something first. All art jokes and UA building jokes aside, chapter 401 second half being badly drawn is really concerning. The creator may not be a good writer, but he's always been a damn good artist. I mean, just look at how f***ing ultra badass the artwork on chapter 399 is. But then here comes chapter 401, with its copy-paste shenanigans, inconsistent art, and random black stuff all over. Is the creator sick or something? Because this is seriously not looking good. At this point it wouldn't surprise me if there's a sudden break next week, or there's a break after 402.
Hey, baby, you okay, man?
Nah, man.
Clever, comrade. Are you her cat?
Deadline: I'm not a cat.
Are you her bat?
No.
Are you her man who has no abilities?
No.
Are you her pepperoni?
No.
Are you her mac and cheese?
No.
Are you her rice cake?
No.
Kiwi?
Deadline: what the hell? Are you hungry or something?
No, I'm not hungry. I'm all for one, the creator of One for All. Ow.
Okay, I'm ending this video.